Welcome to Fraud Exposed. My name is Lori Maddock, and today I'm going to be speaking with a cyber fraud expert. If you want to avoid fraud or know what to do if you've been a victim, stay with us. We don't want you to get ripped off. So, we're going to be talking about social media fraud, how you can prevent it, and what you can do if you're a victim. And this is going to be a two-part series. So, this is part one. Win, I'm going to have you introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Win Win. Thank you for having me. I'm a former founder of Cyber Armor, where we focus fraud. So,
Okay. Well, as you know, you and I have talked many times off camera. Social media is such a huge topic. It's becoming scarier. And I want to start out with Facebook. In my
mhm.
case, I have my accounts locked down in privacy settings, but I know that's really not enough because as you showed me once, the way that when I hit view as and I see what another person would see, well, when you showed it to me, it looked completely different than what Facebook's version of showing my site from another person's view looked like. It didn't look anything like it. And I went, my God, people can still see a lot of information, even though I'm locked down. Now, I also see in Europe, I have friends in Italy, there are accounts they have that are actually say locked. I don't see that option here in the United States. So I want you to talk a little bit about, what do you think about that? I mean, privacy
Mhm.
settings, is it really a joke at this point? Because how many times am I scanning through my feed and I see people complaining, and then they have to make another website, or somebody has copied their information, or another one obviously is pictures. They copy the pictures and they make it look like it's you. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So your first comment is, do we have any privacy? Is it a joke? Um, it is kind of. It is a kind of a joke. For me, um, if you been online using any of the platform on the internet, just have an expectation that your information is out there. There's no privacy. And um, as we start transitioning into the internet more and more, all the public records are also available on the internet. So yes, it's a privacy issue across the board. Even if you protect yourself as much as you can, like you say, you're locking down your Facebook account, doesn't your information only share to your friend rather than your than the public eyes. The risk is still there because as your neighbor or your family member can be sharing information of you openly, right? Because they doesn't think about securities. Or even if the all the website out there like the Target, the Home Depot can breach your information being out there in the dark web, where hacker can take those information and start to attack you. So yes, is privacy is kind of a joke. Just expect that. I think that might be the norm right now is to expect all your information out there in the internet.
And I'm going to come back to Facebook in a minute, but here's
Mhm.
something I do want to share with you that happened last night and this morning. I have WhatsApp. Now I know WhatsApp is encrypted, and I'm gathering that I did not set my privacy settings correctly because now I seem to be in somebody put me that I don't know into some type of a creative wealth group, and I'm looking at this going, I don't know this person. How are they? I thought. I guess anyone can find anyone, but I thought I was protected. And now I had to try to figure out how to change it, which I'm not sure I did right. And then it also allows you to archive it. But I'm getting these weird things. So even WhatsApp, I mean, all of the social media pretty much is getting hit. And like I shared with you earlier before we started recording, one of the things I think people should do is Google their own name, and also Google their own phone number, because I can't tell you how many times my number or my name appear on things that have absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't know if someone's putting me on a list, but now one of my phone numbers is in Ohio, it's in multiple states with different people's names, and then you can't get a hold of the companies that are doing that. But I think I don't know if you're familiar with Google Alerts.
Mhm.
Google Alert, you just Google Alert, and it allows you, and you do it in quotes, you put in your name. Now, if you have a common name, this is a little harder. And you can also put in your phone number in quotes, and anytime your name or number, or maybe your company name, whatever topic it is you want, anytime it appears on the internet, you get a Google Alert. You get an email that tells you, hey, this is what is appearing based on whatever, information. And that might help maybe a teensy bit. I don't think it's going to help all that much, but yeah, it's a little bit scary. So, um, I think most people, they don't realize the risks they take when they post embarrassing photos. Now, I'm not necessarily talking nudity, I'm talking stupidity.
Mhm.
So, I'm sure you're familiar, you've seen the challenges where people are asked to do stupid things. Some of these things are so stupid that, if a child were to see it and it would say, go drink a glass of ammonia, and that's a challenge, you're going to have, millions of kids doing it because they don't know right from wrong. And
Mhm.
there's a danger to being on social media.
Yeah.
People when they're on vacation, that's my favorite. Okay. So if I was a criminal and I saw that you're away for like 2 weeks and you're posting pictures that are current to you being away, real easy to find your address and come and rob you.
Yeah.
So I think those are other things that are dangerous. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Like I saw a recent TikTok um, videos where people posting up answering their personal information publicly, right? And this is a great way for a criminal, a scammer, to gather the information. So as the typical banks, for example, they having your email, your social securities, your birthday, right? And some of the private information that the 5 questionnaire that they ask you that only you know about yourself to answer as a way to recover or a way to proving who you are when you reset your password. So now this with this trend, all this hacker can just look up this information openly, you providing to them, and they just absorb it and now taking that information, try to reset the password from, let's say, Bank of America, and they can get in the account easily, right? So social media, like, we have to be very aware of the risk of it. Any information we put on the internet is gonna be there forever, and criminal will take any opportunity to benefit them. For example, Google, using Google search is a great way, like you're saying, if you're searching um, for searching for your name, for example, you can find a lot of information from there. Maybe we can do a quick demonstration. Is that okay?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, see, can you see the screen?
Yes,
Okay.
I can.
So let's search for, if it okay, search for Laurie Mandel. Um, and let's do Facebook, right? As you mentioned earlier, um,
Right.
you lock down your account significantly. So this might be a wrong person, right? Of someone else.
Okay, it is. It is because it has two Ds and I only have one D in mine.
Right. So one
So try,
way for you to do this is you put a quote in here to
right.
only looking for the specific one, and we land to this. I assume this
Right.
is you.
That is me. That
So
is a show I did, a variety show I did several years ago.
yeah, and as you've seen, there's a lot of information here, like your email, your company's website, and you can start pivoting, more into other information, scrolling through this to gather information of who you are and gather, a lot of information from this. So because
Right.
I'm going from my and and yeah, is you as criminal, you just scroll through this info and gather as much information as you can, as you seen here, another links and this in another page right here with you
Right.
and your spouse from here, right? And now with
Yep.
the phone number, right? The another email.
Yes.
And as you so when you're using this all this information, you start searching for credential for your password if there's any leaks out there, and you building a profile for you. And once you have enough information, gather enough, you start able to start attacking the um, try to performing fraud for your account, your banking. So
Yeah. One of the things I learned actually from my computer service was
mhm,
I wanted to do all new passwords because I have multiple Gmail accounts. Some of them are old, but once in a while, you might get something from someone who doesn't
mhm,
have your updated email. And what he told me was you can no longer use the same password on all of those accounts. You now have to have a different password on each account separately. And
yes,
then I write it down. I don't put it on my phone or anything like that, but I don't know how much that I don't know how much that really matters. I mean, originally for I'm a credit expert, and originally for the previous website I had, it had a different email address, and one day it just stopped working. And even my
mhm,
computer guy, who's really good, he could not access that account. So I'm assuming somebody hijacked it, is my guess. But hey,
yeah,
who do I report that to? Because, Google, I got to find somebody to try yeah, right. I see your look on your face. No one really helps you until it's too late, which is why
yeah,
once your information is on the dark web or you're a victim of identity theft, it is the rest of your life. I mean, I was a victim in 2010, and so it is the rest of my life that I have to check every single thing and every transaction. But it makes me more aware, I think, than most people, just because I've done it and I've also helped other people resolve issues. But you almost have to be your own detective
yeah,
in order to figure this kind of stuff out.
yeah,
So,
too,
we were talking about the challenges and a lot of stupidity, and fraudsters can be looking at their profile, but legitimate companies also can check out your social media profiles. Mortgage companies do that, employment companies. I mean, can you imagine applying for a job and then going to your unlocked social media page and seeing you do something really idiotic, and they're going to be like, sorry, next, you look like an idiot. Insurance companies do that too. I also know, like in classified industries, government industries, I think police departments, uh, they are looking at your social media, not just
yeah,
the bad guys, the hackers, but also legitimate companies are looking to see who are you. And sometimes I see stuff, do I really want to see stuff where people are posting, they've got stitches down their leg and this is their store? Like, is there nothing better to post on on Facebook or on social media? I like to see happy things, and
yeah,
but people put every single thing in. And now, okay, you put in pictures of your surgery and all this stuff and your complaints. And how do you know that a private investigator or a hospital or somebody in billing isn't looking at those pictures? And
mhm,
then if you decide, hey, I'm going to sue that hospital, they're going to come back and say, hey, look what you put up socially. Now you got to prove all of that. So I think it's really dangerous, in a lot of cases. Uh, I want to share one that you're gonna kind of laugh at because this is an old one. And so this is in 2009 when I first signed up on Facebook. I really knew nothing about it. And I received a message in Messenger. It was my first messenger message, and it looked like it was from a good friend of mine on the West Coast. And he claimed that he had been beaten up, he had no money, no passport, and he was looking for me to wire him money. And I'm going to tell you, I almost believed it. And this person had to have researched or hacked into my Facebook page and looked up enough information, because the answers that he gave to my questions almost seemed legitimate. Uh, and I remember saying, "Well, how," I said, "Okay, if it's really you, where was the last place I saw you?" And he wrote back something like, "Oh, how could you do that? We've been friends for all these years." I don't know, it just gave me that gut feeling. Now here's what I
Mm.
did that was stupid, but I knew I would get my money back. I said, "Okay, if this is really you, I want a phone number that from where you are, and I will call and you get on the phone and we'll talk." Okay. I get a phone number. Now it's overseas. Okay. So I do know that you can get reimbursed if it's a fraud situation, which is what happened to me. But I wanted to make sure it really wasn't my friend and it really didn't happen. And I had never heard of the scam because I'm new on Facebook. And when I call up, someone with a heavy accent, answers, and I ask for my friend, and he goes, "Oh, he just stepped out." What do you mean he just stepped out? He knew I was calling for him, right? And I'm going, "Nah, something's wrong." And so, I have 2 phones. I use the other phone, and I texted my friend on the West Coast, and I said, "Are you home right now?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Get on your Facebook and go to your Messenger and see what's going on." So he did see, and he's like, "Oh, no, that's not me." So I guess at that point he went in and changed his password, but he got
Mm.
hacked. But you see how I almost got
Mm.
fooled, because they saw all the information, because they were able to access my locked account regardless of the fact that it was locked.
Mm.
So, I mean, that was a common type of fraud situation, right? And I'm sure
Mm.
you can probably name others,
Yeah.
but all these people are getting locked out of their accounts for reasons that don't make any sense. So, I
Well,
see people,
it makes a
yeah,
lot of sense, right? Because the hacker will use password or reuse the password that they have. So let's say that I found an old password for you from your Gmail account, right? The
okay,
chance of you reuse that password on Facebook is very high, right? It's probably like 60% to 70%, right? So I would try to reuse those password on Facebook. And as I try to attempt multiple times, try different variable of the password, you would get locked out, right? So that type
yeah,
of risk is very important, that we have to be very aware. Like coming back to your earlier discussion in the password, my recommendation is to use new password for every website you have and write it down. Um, Never
right,
reuse the password, right? Never reuse it. Because like for example, where in my companies we monitor billions, we have billions of password from that we found on the internet, right? And we use that to protect the financial institution, the customer, and
okay,
try to be a little bit earlier than the hackers, right? To protect everyone. But these are the resources that hacker also have. So they one of their method what they use is an attack called attack stuffing. That means that they all the credentials that they found for you from different locations, they just reuse that account to different location like the Instagram, the Facebook, or the Robinhood, the banks, the Chase, and they keep attempt do it until they get something right, and they will get it right because for us, we don't want to have managing 10 password, let alone 100 password, right? So people have the tendency to keep reusing the password, and this is how hacker get into the account. So yeah, and that's
gotcha,
one takeaway from all this is we have to try to manage our password better, right? So your one of the method that you mentioned is write it down. That's nothing safer than just write it down, put it somewhere that you know no one gonna go into your house and steal it, right? Or
Right.
using one of the password manager like I do, and there's a risk to it as well, but the risk is lesser than the risk of reusing the password.
I gotcha. Now there's a new one that's hit me a few times in the last month on different Facebook pages I've had, where it appears to come from either Meta or Facebook, saying that you are not your group or your page is not following the rules, and we're going to delete you if you don't click on this link and
Oh,
update your information. And so, the way I'm 99% sure they're scams. I won't click on the link, but what I do is I click on their profile page, which has 0 people attached to it. So immediately something's wrong. And at that
mhm,
point, I can just report those posts to Facebook and get rid of them. But I'm sure they scare a lot of Facebook,
mhm,
people who have pages or groups, because it looks so real that
yeah,
it's really coming from Facebook while you're on it. And yet the whole thing is fake. And
yeah,
so, it bothers me. It's like somebody, okay, so here's another story. So years ago, I was doing a show and it was about Islam. And I had the care director on who was an attorney. I had a friend who was Christian, I'm Jewish. So I wanted to do like a 3-part series. And I started getting, on my locked account, I started getting messages from Middle Eastern men yeah, that was a little scary. How did they get into my messenger? I'm a locked account. And I reported those to Facebook, but it made me very nervous because I wasn't condemning people, Islam or Muslim. It was an actual conversation on the differences between religion. But at that point, I started getting nervous, like, hey, these people could find out where I live.
yeah.
And
Very
those
easily,
things are, yeah, and those things to
very
me
easily.
are a bit scary. So, again, they accessed my supposed locked account, and Facebook really has no liability. So when you see people, and I have to laugh because people don't do any due diligence anymore. And this includes a lot of my friends too on Facebook. They put up posts that say, in order for Facebook to, Facebook is not allowed to use my pictures or my posts or this or that or anything like that. And it goes on, it's like 2 paragraphs. And I'm like, oh my God, how many lawyers do I know? And my response always back is, it's a unilateral agreement, their rules, you have to follow their rules, just like a credit card company. You don't want to follow their rules, can't use the account. Delete your account,
Mhm,
right? Same thing with
yeah,
credit card company says, we made these changes. You can opt out and we'll cancel your credit card.
yeah.
But just frightening how people seem to be able to do this. So, talk a little bit here. How how are those hackers? I mean, that dark web that I'm obsessed with. Is this where people are buying most of the information now? They go to this dark web and you said people sell other people's information, and that's how they get a lot of the information. Because I know on my credit monitoring, it will tell me, usually it will tell me the company that was breached
Mhm,
and how much of my information was breached. The scary part is a lot of these companies have never even notified me that I've been breached. And I had something pop up a couple of weeks ago that was from November of 2019, and it was from a big company. Never got notification of it. And every
yeah,
day when I read Google News, all I read about is this, Google getting breached, this company getting breached. That means pretty much that almost everybody's information is out there. And if you are not diligent, right? So talk a little bit about, again, how can you be diligent in making sure that you can't protect yourself 100%. I'm hoping you invent
mhm.
something that that makes it so that people can't do that. But I'm sitting here going, well, with AI, they do voice cloning. You can
Mhm,
do a fake fingerprint nowadays. I'm thinking retina scans. Like when I go to the bank, they make you look up, middle, and down. But how, what do people do? And
mhm,
especially the elderly, because they are more prone to getting scammed. And even though there are elder abuse laws in most states, here's the problem here in Florida. Nobody does anything. Nobody does anything unless you go to the news media. Very rare. They don't like any criminal cases here. You'll be told it's a criminal case, and then nope, it's a civil case. We're just going to hand it off. We don't care what it was. That is the feeling here. Being from New York Metro, I don't think it's quite as bad up there. But this state, nope, that's why the criminals move here. What are you going to invent that's going to stop all of this?
Oof, that's a
That's a
big
tough question,
question.
right?
So, so for one, like going back in your data, the dark web, right? Yes, companies can hack dailies, and hackers selling those information to other hacker where they actually can use it to performing the fraud. They also share data openly, right? And openly to different hackers. And so, yeah, there's your information, our information is constantly being published, right? And hacker using all this opportunity as a way to, they're using very similar tactics as a salesperson, right? They're using the same language as sales. They're using leads. They have a focus of an audience or target that they want to target, and
Okay.
they attack those people with a high chance, right? Um, so for the social media is reduce your footprint as much as you can, because the more information you put it out there, hacker will monitor it, they will get it, right? So um, a year, I think last year or 2 years ago, um, hackers sharing billion of accounts on Facebook, right, profile account to other people, right, to other hacker freely available for everyone. LinkedIn also been scraped and openly provided to other hackers. So as you've seen, even the big companies like LinkedIn, Microsoft, Facebook, they still get compromised. They still get
Right.
breach, get hacked. So it's very tough for us to be very, being proactive in protecting ourselves. So we have to be constantly actively being aware of what's going on. Now the second to your question is, how do we keep ourselves safe, right?
Right.
And that's such a challenge that financial financial institution or most of these companies having to deal with is they have to consider the usability of using the product versus security, right? So if the customer are um, a little bit elder or not familiar with securities like logging in, password, if you give them
Right.
like if you tell them that their password have to be 20 character password,
Mhm.
they would be like
Yeah.
canceled right away, right? Now
Right.
when you add them on, it's like, oh, you need, at least 15 character of password, and you also, we're gonna send you a 6-digit code, right, to your phone or your
Yeah.
email. You have to sign that in. Um, that become a lot of the problem because it's a lot of people not familiar with it. They just want things to be easy, using fingerprint login automatically in, right? But as you exposing yourself in this instability, you're also creating a problem that hacker can benefit from, right? So if to log into your account require only your username and password,
Mhm.
that would be very easy for them. So what I do is, for every financial institution have the option, I would enable, the second password, the OTP is what they call, where they send it to my phone, right? So after I using
Yeah.
username and password, they send me a code, and I use that code to enter it in. Um, there's other product out there like YubiKey is a physical USB. So once I log in, for my Gmail, for example, they would ask me to plug that USB in, and the USB would challenge a code that authenticate with Google, and that is slightly a little bit more secure than the phone OTP or the email OTP. So yeah, those are some of the habit I think we need to start to be aware and start to protect ourselves more and more, is to
Right.
just spend a little bit extra time, 30 seconds a minute, to enter in the newer password, the OTP, just so we can be a little bit safer. Because as you know, like your email, once you expose your email, once the hacker compromise your email, they would be able
Okay.
to compromise everything that you have linking to it, right? So because every time you reset a password, it send a reset password to your email, right?
Oh,
And
yes.
if they're in there, they can capture everything and just log in everything from there. So um,
I gotcha. I mean, I guess, I was gonna say, do scammers do this for fun? Do they like I'm assuming some of them do it just for fun to see can they hack, do you know the group Anonymous? Are you
mhm.
familiar with Anonymous,
Yes, yes,
and they're well-known hackers, but I think some people do it for fun, but a lot of these
yeah,
people are doing it because they're desperate for money, not
yeah,
necessarily outside of this country either, but yet we don't seem to have enough law enforcement people to actually deal with the situation. And that's just kind of sad because
yeah,
there's way too many scams. And
yeah,
hackers pulling information on you. We talked about public records, court records. Oh, Florida voters registration. Yeah, that lists everything except your social security number. You can find information in the tax collector's office, Department of Corporations. It's like being a private detective. You can look at all of the
yeah,
court records nowadays pretty much online and find out. And when you put that information together with the social media, then
yeah,
then bingo, you're going to become a victim. So
yeah,
years ago, I had done a show with the CBS affiliate down here. And one of the things that I told people was, don't use your pet's name. People use their pet's name as their password because they think it's cute, or your kids' names.
yeah,
Um, Most people put their kids up on Facebook or on social media without realizing that's also very risky. Now, I
yeah,
have friends who will not only do their kids not have social media or Facebook pages, but the parents, they will not post their children because, you've got human trafficking. And so if someone finds out you've got a young kid or a baby, whatever, that's still another risk. So I want to go back to the password manager programs online.
mhm,
They're not 100% safe, right? I mean, they could be hacked, probably harder
yeah,
to hack. You might be able to hack one. I've thought about doing it, but I finally just ended up doing what you said and writing it on paper.
yeah. So yeah, is like for example, I used to use LastPass, password manager. Um, yeah, I've been using it for about 5, 6 years already. And last year they got hacked, right? They get hacked. Now I'm at risk with because I have everything in it, right? So I just, then I switch to another password manager, one password, where slightly a little bit better, but it is would be still, the same type of issue, right? So
Right.
and this is the type of um, um, issue that you have to consider when you select these things is to the usability as well as secure, right? Write it down is better, safer, right? Put it in the safe, and every time you need it, you use it. But I use a 32 character random password for every
Oh
site.
my God.
So it's a little bit challenge for me to write, type it in every time, right? So yeah, it's you when you select password manager, or when you decide to follow different patterns in managing your password, you have to kind of like consider the risk and the risk for all of this platform out there.
I gotcha. I don't remember the law firm, but there was an article in the news today online about how I think it's an attorney company or a legal company that their goal is protecting companies from fraud. And you know what happened? They got breached.
Oh
So
yeah.
so everything is, dangerous. And I see like some of my friends, they don't use their last name on social media. They use their first name and their middle name. Well, that would be great for me. I don't have a middle name, but I don't know how much of a deterrent that actually is. It just because you can find people through their friends,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can figure out from like for example, Google Lens or TinEye, where you can post, a photo, and it will show you how many times and where that photo has appeared. Interestingly, in doing like my old radio shows, they are on networks in foreign countries I've never even heard of.
Mhm.
Just, they just pop up. I wasn't monetizing them because I was doing consumer advocacy, but it was just weird how I'm on these networks I've never even heard of. I know we're going to do a show soon on the dark web because that's something I think that's really important. Um, what did I write here? So personal profiles, they can be locked down to some extent. Most people with groups or pages are not locked down because they want more people to join. And me, I mean, I'm an admin or I'm a member. Some of these groups, they eventually do lock down, but when they're first starting, they're not because they're trying to draw people in. And that's where you see a lot of the scammers, the trolls, the nasty people, things like that. So I wanted to just mention here before we close this first part of the show, if you've been defrauded on social media online, these are just some things I came up with. Yes, you can file a police report. You can do it online in most cases. If it involves money, money, the FBI has what's called an IC3 form you can fill out. You can also go to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau at consumerfinance.gov. Can you post to the Better Business Bureau? You can, but I don't see a lot of results coming out of that. There are websites like Rip Off Report and Pissed Consumer where people file their complaints. You might need an attorney. My favorite site is Elliott, ELLIOTT.org, which is a great consumer advocacy site. They'll help you or you can help yourself. If you're using debit, don't stop. I mean, don't use it anymore. Don't. I try to tell people you are at such high risk with a debit card for loss of your money. It's cash out of your account. Use a credit card.
Yeah.
If you have low FICO scores, you can get a secured credit card and use that. There's more protection. One of my favorite ways is using the TV news investigators. They all have consumer advocacy. I have had good results with that. I recommend that to a lot of people. Hey, listen, you could do your own show if you've been ripped off, and you could put up your own thing as long as you are, giving statement of fact. And I'm not an attorney, but you can say the truth. And you want to be able to deal with companies. I do not deal with companies where I can't speak to a live human being. Always make sure you put a security freeze on your credit reports for the three bureaus, and you can contact any of us. I know you're going to post up our information. So let me just see here before we finish up. Let's see. Yeah, I guess you know what? We're gonna finish up. This is part one. And then we will do the next show, continuation on social media fraud. So thanks for joining us on Fraud Exposed. Wynn, glad to have you on as always, and we will be back.
Sounds good. Thank you.